tricking and the drugs and the people stealing his stuff. My stepfather abused me my whole entire life. So I got introduced to drugs by just hanging with the older crowd, and I like the way it just like numbed my pain.
Ending crime and disorder on America's streets. That's the name of President Trump's executive order aimed at tackling homelessness issued in late July. We're now hearing from local leaders who are working together in trying to decipher the potential impacts of this action. KENS 5 reporter Zach Briggs explains.
Christian Assistance Ministry, or CAM, is just one of many organizations here in San Antonio working to help the unhoused community. President and CEO Don White Fosdick says there are some major concerns when it comes to President Trump's executive order to crack down on the homeless.
Heat. In San Antonio, the sun is not a source of life. It is a predator. It stalks you. It waits for you to make a mistake. Imagine a heat so oppressive that the asphalt softens under your boots, threatening to swallow you whole. It is 103 degrees in the shade, but there is no shade. Not for you. You are walking down Commerce Street, past the tourists taking selfies at the Alamo, past the river barges filled with laughter and margaritas. But you exist in a parallel dimension, a ghost world layered directly on top of the postcard city. To your left, a mother tries to shield her infant from the glare using a piece of cardboard. To your right, a veteran leans against a scorching brick wall, his skin the color of ash, his water bottle empty since noon. This is not a climate emergency documentary. This is Tuesday in San Antonio, Texas, in the year 2026. While the city celebrates its economic boom, a silent catastrophe is unfolding in the alleyways and underpasses. The official numbers tell us that homelessness has risen by 7%. But walk these streets with us, and you will see that the spreadsheets are lying. The crisis isn't growing, it is exploding. My stepfather abused me my whole life, a woman whispers to our camera, her voice cracking like dry leaves. I got introduced to things just to numb the pain. And now I miss my children. One miss being a mom. I miss being human. Her story is the story of thousands. It is the story of the working poor who became the working homeless. It is the story of families broken not by lack of love, but by lack of funds. Welcome to Homeless US News. Today, we are stripping away the PR spin. We are going to take you inside the heat islands, where the temperature is 10 degrees hotter than the suburbs. We will expose the eviction machine that churns out homelessness faster than shelters can build beds. And we will confront the uncomfortable truth. In a city of immense wealth, we have decided that some people simply do not deserve water, shelter, or dignity. This is the rival perspective. This is the story of the sunken city.
The executive order strips the focus of housing first models in favor of enforcement-based solutions. It reopens the door to implementing civil commitment, meaning placing the unhoused into long-term institutions for treatment. CAM's Don White Fosdick questions the future of funding to help the homeless in San Antonio.
Part 1. The anatomy of a collapse, the real numbers. Let's start by interrogating the official narrative. Every year, the city conducts a point-in-time count, a census of the streets. In 2025, they reported 3,625 people experiencing homelessness in Bexar County. They call this a manageable increase. We call it a polite fiction. Outreach workers on the east side tell a different story. They report a 15% surge in newly unsheltered people, faces they have never seen before. These aren't the chronic cases we hear about on the news. These are your neighbors. These are the people who bagged your groceries last month. These are the families who were living in motels until the rates hiked up for the summer season. The unsheltered population, those living on the concrete with absolutely no cover, has spiked by nearly 28%. That is not a statistic, that is a humanitarian failure. Why is this happening? Because the economic floor has fallen out. San Antonio is marketed as an affordable alternative to Austin or Dallas. But that affordability is a myth for the people actually living here. Rents have skyrocketed, averaging $1,350 a month. Meanwhile, wages have stagnated. The gap between what people earn and what they need to survive has become a canyon. We spoke to a former construction worker named David. "I helped build these luxury condos downtown," he says, gesturing to a glass tower gleaming in the sun. "I poured the concrete, I framed the walls, and now I sleep in the shadow of the building I built because I can't afford to live in it." Make it make sense. This is the reality of the 2026 landscape. It is a city that is growing vertically for the rich, while the poor are being pushed horizontally out to the margins, into the drainage ditches, and into the heat. Part 2. The nomadic burden, life in a plastic bag. Have you ever thought about the physics of homelessness? The sheer, physical weight of it? Walk through downtown, near the shadow of the Alamo, and you will see the phenomenon of the turtle life. People carrying their entire existence on their backs. When you lose your home, you don't just lose a roof. You lose your storage. You lose your closet. You lose the ability to put something down and know it will be there when you come back. Every object becomes a burden. A heavy winter coat is a lifesaver in January, but in July, it is a 10-pound anchor that you have to drag through the heat because you might need it again. In 6 months, a stack of legal documents, birth certificates, social security cards must be guarded with your life. Because if they get stolen, you cease to exist in the eyes of the bureaucracy. We watched a young man named Leo organize his backpack. It was a masterclass in logistics. "I have to choose," he told us. "Do I carry the extra water bottle, or do I carry my work boots? I can't carry both. The boots get me money, but the water keeps me alive today." Every morning is a gamble. This constant physical strain wears the body down. We see 20-year-olds walking with the stoop of 80-year-olds. Their spines are compressed by the weight of their own survival. And the psychological toll is even heavier. Imagine the stress of never being able to relax. If you fall asleep in a park and let go of your bag, it's gone. Theft is rampant, often driven by desperation. "It's the tricking and the people stealing your stuff," the woman in the intro said. This creates a state of hypervigilance. The brain never enters deep sleep. It is always scanning for threats. This sleep deprivation mimics the symptoms of severe mental illness: paranoia, irritability, confusion. So when you see someone shouting at the sky on Commerce Street, ask yourself, are they crazy? Or have they just not slept in 3 weeks? Because they are terrified of losing the last photo of their mother. Part 3. The resource drought, hunger and thirst. We need to talk about the biology of survival in South Texas. The human body can go 3 weeks without food. It can go 3 days without water. In San Antonio summer heat, it can go about 3 hours before cognitive function begins to fail. We are witnessing a thirst crisis. Public water fountains are scarce. Many have been turned off or removed to discourage loitering, a coded phrase. For we don't want homeless people here. Businesses have locked their restrooms and put codes on their soda fountains. So, where do you get water? You scavenge. We filmed people sifting through trash cans outside the River Center Mall, looking for half-empty bottles of Dasani thrown away by tourists. They pour the warm backwash into a jug and drink it. It is humiliating. It is dangerous, but it is survival. "I walk 5 miles a day just to fill up my jugs," says Maria. A 60-year-old woman living in a tent near the highway. By the time I get back to my tent, the water is hot like tea. But it's wet. That's all that matters. And then there is the hunger. San Antonio has food deserts. Entire neighborhoods without a grocery store. For the homeless, the city is a nutrition desert. The non-profits are trying. Groups like the San Antonio Food Bank are heroic. But the demand is crushing. In 2025, new visitors to aid distributions rose by 20%. These aren't just the unemployed, these are the working hungry. People with badges and uniforms standing in line for a box of pasta because their paycheck went to the landlord. This resource scarcity turns the community against itself. When there isn't enough to go around, generosity becomes a survival risk. You see fights break out over a bag of chips. You see the erosion of empathy, replaced by the cold logic of self-preservation. Part 4. The Hygiene Gap, Dignity Stripped AWAY. There is a smell to this crisis. It is not the smell of the people. It is the smell of the failure to provide infrastructure. Imagine going a week without a shower in 100-degree heat. Imagine the sweat drying on your skin, layer after layer, mixing with the dust of the roadside. The itch becomes maddening. Rashes develop. Infections set in from minor scratches that, in a housed life, would heal in a day. In San Antonio, hygiene has become a luxury good. The 2025 data shows that nearly 60% of unsheltered people lack regular access to a shower. 65% cannot wash their clothes. This is the hygiene trap. You want a job? You need to look clean. You want to look clean? You need a shower. You need a gym membership or a home. You have neither, so you can't get the job. We met a man named James who was fired from a day labor site. The foreman told me I stunk, James said, looking at his hands, which were stained with oil and dirt. I told him, "Boss, I sleep under the bridge. I wash in the river." He didn't care. He said I was bad for business. The river James is talking about isn't the pristine tourist section. It's the muddy, stagnant runoff channels. People bathe there, risking bacterial infections, because the alternative is nothing. Mobile shower units exist, but the demand outstrips supply by a massive margin. Requests for mobile showers in Travis Park rose by 12% this year. People wait in line for hours for a 10-minute rinse. When they step out, clean for the first time in weeks, you see a physical transformation. Their shoulders drop, their eyes brighten, they look human again. But then they step back out into the dust, and the clock starts ticking until the grime returns. This deprivation is a form of psychological torture. It enforces a caste system. It marks the homeless as untouchable, creating a physical barrier between them and the rest of society that is harder to cross than any wall. Part 5. The Economic Machine, Why They Fall. Let's dismantle the biggest lie of all, that homelessness is a choice. In San Antonio, homelessness is not a choice. It is a mathematical inevitability for the bottom 20% of earners. The housing wage, the amount you need to earn to afford a basic two-bedroom apartment, is completely divorced from the minimum wage. Rents in central districts average $1,350. Do the math. A full-time minimum wage worker earns roughly $1,200 a month before taxes. The math doesn't work. It is physically impossible to pay rent and eat. We are seeing a surge in first-time homelessness. 48% of the people on the street are new to this life. They didn't grow up here. They fell here. They fell because of the eviction industrial complex. In 2025, eviction filings in Bexar County ballooned by 9%. Landlords, emboldened by a hot market, are churning through tenants, raising rents, and kicking out anyone who stumbles. Corporate landlords are buying up single-family homes in neighborhoods on the west and south sides, painting them gray, calling them luxury rentals and doubling the price. Long-time residents, families who have lived there for generations, are being displaced. This is not gentrification, it is colonization. We spoke to a family, a mother, father, and 3 kids living in a minivan. The father works full-time as a security guard. The mother works part-time at a diner. We make too much for food stamps, the father says, but too little for an apartment. We are in the middle, and the middle is a black hole. This is the deeper route. It is not about laziness. It is about an economy that views housing as an asset class for investors, rather than a human right for citizens. Until we disrupt this machine, the tents will keep multiplying. Part 6. The broken safety net. Policy failure. So what is the city doing? The official line is compassionate solutions. They point to Haven for Hope, the massive campus that serves as the hub of the city's response. And to be fair, Haven does incredible work. They shelter 1,500 people a night. They save lives. But Haven is facing a $10 million budget shortfall. The federal COVID relief funds, the ARPA money, have dried up. The fiscal cliff has arrived. Without that funding, programs are being cut. Caseloads are rising. The safety net is fraying at the exact moment the demand is peaking. The city's budget for homeless response is $40 million. That sounds like a lot, until you realize it is a fraction of what is spent on policing. There's a disconnect, an invisible divide, between the policy makers in air-conditioned offices and the reality on the asphalt. The policies often focus on visibility. They want to move the homeless out of the tourist zones. We see sweeps abatements happening before major festivals or conventions. They clear the camps, toss the belongings, and declare the area clean. But the people just move to blocks over. It is a shell game with human lives. And let's talk about the racial disparity. Black residents make up only 7% of San Antonio's population, yet they represent 21% of the homeless population. This is the legacy of systemic inequality, of redlining, of a justice system that disproportionately targets minority communities, stripping them of the stability needed to keep a home. The solutions that work: housing first, permanent supportive housing, are known. They are proven. The Alliance to House Everyone has a plan, but a plan without funding is just a hallucination. Outro. The mirror in the desert. San Antonio is a beautiful city. It is a city of history, of culture, of resilience. But right now, it is a city with a broken heart. As the sun sets over the Tower of the Americas, casting long purple shadows across the city, 3,625 people are preparing for another night of survival. They are not monsters. They are not failures. They are the collateral damage of a society that has lost its way. When you see the man sleeping on the bench, do not look away. Look at him. That is the mirror. That is what happens when the safety net snaps. That is what happens when the rent goes up and the pay stays down. That could be your brother. That could be you. We have a choice. We can continue to criminalize poverty, to build higher fences, to pretend that if we sweep them away, they don't exist. Or we can decide that in the heart of Texas, no family should have to sleep in a car because they can't afford a key. This isn't about politics. It is about the soul of the city. Will San Antonio be a city that rises together, or will it be a city that leaves its own behind in the dust and the heat? The story is being written right now, and you are holding the pen. Thank you for watching Homeless US News. If this story made you angry, good. Use that anger. Demand better. Support the local groups fighting on the front lines. Subscribe to this channel. We will not stop shining the light in the dark corners. We will not let them be forgotten. Now, go out there. Be a witness. Be a neighbor. Be the change.